a mountain in Australia where 5 people go for a walk but only 4 return and 1 disappears. Even this strange incident happened once in the past, but what is the reason for this happening and what is the mystery behind it? And to solve that mystery, Aaron starts investigating it, and then a strange twist comes out. The first part of the movie is quite complicated and slowly it starts to be solved, so definitely watch the video till the end. Hi, this is Sally's and you are watching Best of Hollywood, and today's movie Force of Nature. The drive to a fictional mountain in Australia called Girlang Range. 4 women come out screaming from the forest located on this mountain. They have only one thing on their face: please help us. Hearing their screams, 2 people run to them and the next moment a woman screams the name Alice. Actually, a total of 5 women went out hiking on this mountain, but currently there are 4 and number 5, that is Alice, cannot be found anymore. She has vanished. Similarly, these 4, they are not in a normal state at all. In their faces there are injury marks. The scene of the movie shifts from here, and exactly 3 days later, a federal investigator named Aaron Falk living in Melbourne receives a call, and this call was made by the woman named Alice. But he cannot hear Alice clearly on the call. Aaron understands that Alice is not in a good condition at all. She is not able to speak properly. After much investigation, Aaron finds out that the girl named Alice went hiking in the Girlang Range and was accompanied by her company boss and her bosses. The wife, whose name is Jill, and 3 other women were with them. One was her childhood friend Lauren and 2 sisters Brianna and Bethany, and 3 days ago, only Jill, Lauren, Brianna and Bethany returned, and among them Brianna was injured and was bitten by a spider in the forest, but Alice did not return. Aaron immediately met his partner Garmin. Garmin told him that this mountain is a place where you can relax if you go for a walk, but it is also very easy to disappear from here. But Aaron is worried about Alice because he forced Alice to go hiking in this mountain, and as he said, she went there. Aaron knows the Girlang Range well because when he was little and he went hiking in this mountain with his family, but strangely his mother also disappeared in the same way. The 2 of them reached the hiking spot. Several police officers have already started this investigation. Police officer Aaron understands that Alice has been alone for 30 hours now. No one knows where they are in the mountains, but the police ask why he would call Aaron and what is the connection between Alice and him. Aaron tells him the truth. He says that some shady business was going on in the company where Alice worked, and for this reason he took Alice's help to investigate it and deliberately sent her on this hike. Here, in a flashback, we are shown how Aaron convinced Alice to upload every document of that company to a pen drive and bring it with him. Similarly, all the information of that company. He wants to know because the company he works for has already had a lot of cases like money laundering, drug trafficking and mistreatment of employees. All these things have been heard about in this company. But Alice thinks this job is too risky, so she tells him not to do it. Now, the local police officer, Aaron, understands. They went along the northern valley and they hiked for a total of 4 hours, and the last time he saw Alice was when they all took shelter in a hut together. Similarly, he says that the hut, a terrible criminal is always around, and that is Kobach. Similarly, they saw the grave of a dog in front of the hut, and this dog belonged to Kobach, so the police suspect that this criminal named Kobach murdered Alice. Aaron and Carmen start their investigation. They first go to the driver who took this hiking team to the mountain. This driver's name is Chase. Chase tells them that at first there were 2 teams, one was the boys' team and the other was the girls' team. He drives them to the hotel. He told them that there were 5 girls in the girls' team and one was their boss, Danielle, but he was coming much later. Chase also told them that the campsite they went to with their son had everything, such as food, water, and other necessities. But surprisingly, they did not find any food or necessities at the campsite where the girls were taken. Then he took Aaron to the waterfall where the girls first saw the waterfall. He saw it and came here and collected the girls' phones because no pictures can be taken here, and that's the rule. Chase told him that this waterfall is the smallest waterfall with a height of 15 meters, but even though it is small, The water speed is very high, so if someone goes under this waterfall, then his death is certain. And after that, Chase said his last goodbye to the girls and told them that their adventure starts from here and no one will guide them, they will move forward on their own. Chase takes Aaron and German to the boss of the company, Daniel, and Daniel tells them that you continue your investigation, I will pay whatever money it costs. Aaron talks to Daniel's wife Jill, and Jill tells them that they went out hiking and first found a flag on a tree, and if it is taken down they will be given a reward, and that is why their girls took it down very nicely. But this thing was the only one. Alice Baker thought it was a waste of time. At night, Aaron takes shelter in a hotel next to this mountain and looks at the map of Gerling carefully that night. The girls completed their hike, and when they reached their camp, it was already night. Everyone thought about resting, but only the girl named Lauren was trying to sneak a peek. She said something. Someone is here. She heard something in her ear. Now, in the present, Aaron noticed from his hotel room that someone was approaching his hotel. He approached and saw that it was Lauren. Lauren told him that she was hanging around here because she believed that Alice might be back, because the first day they had been to a waterfall. They had crossed over and moved forward by a river, so if Alice had found it by now, she should be back by tonight. Lauren also started telling Aaron about the incident that night. She said that she heard something that night and she thought someone was hiding, and her suspicions were correct. It was Daniel who was trying to scare them. Although he was doing it for fun, they were really scared. Aaron remembered his past and remembered how he forced Alice to take that USB drive. At first, Alice didn't want to take it, but he threatened her that if she didn't work for him, he would kidnap her daughter, so Alice was forced to take the USB drive and agreed to help him. Then Aaron went to meet Bethany and Brianna, and there he found out that Brianna had been bitten by a spider. Aaron asked them how Daniel was behaving that night and how he was talking to Alice. Brianna told him that Daniel talked to Alice in the same way. Was saying, as they say every day, and besides, there is always a little more talk between these two. Similarly, the most interesting thing is that each of their mobile phones were taken away, but still they noticed that Alice was talking on a phone, and seeing this thing, Jill got very angry. He told her to always keep this in mind, that I have appointed you in this company and similarly I can take you out if I want. Alice apologized to him and threw the pen drive in her hand next to the tree. The next morning, these girls again came from their camp with a new they started on their journey, but after going a little far, everyone noticed something. Last time they saw some flags in the middle of the road, but now they can't find them. So Alice asked Brianna if we were going in the right direction because she had the map in her hand, but Brianna couldn't say anything. Then Alice checked the map in her hand and saw that they were really going in the wrong direction. According to Lauren, they should turn back, but the others don't think so because they have to know the way to go back, but none of them know the way, so they decide to go ahead along the river because the river always flows from where there is a settlement. Hearing this story, Aaron remembered his past when he went out to walk on the same mountain with his family, and then his mother left them on this mountain for a special reason and went to walk in the forest, but then she didn't come back. The 5 girls reached the river as planned and were the first to check their map, but suddenly the map fell into the river and the girl named Lauren tried to pick it up, and at one point she also fell into the river. 4 girls scream and somehow pull Lauren out of the river, but Lauren's forehead starts bleeding. Now, according to Carmen, the people of the city will not be able to survive in such a situation, but Aaron says that no matter how bad the situation is, he will be able to survive unless someone kills him intentionally. In such a situation, Aaron remembers that when he lost his mother as a child, they were the first to go to the river because when a person is injured or sick, first of all, they need water, and Aaron does exactly that. He goes to the waterfall where he went last time, and here he sees a girl standing on the waterfall. As he gets closer, he notices that it is Lauren. He asks her what happened to Jean that day because she has a scar on her cheek. Lauren says in a nutshell that she doesn't know anything about it, so he should ask her. Similarly, he says that Alice must have had a hand in what happened that day. She must have done something wrong, but why does she feel that way? He doesn't say anything. In the flashback, we are shown that hiking tour again. They slowly reach the top of the mountain, but when they get here, they realize that they don't have time to go back to their camp because the sun will set in a very short time and it will be dark all around. Jill gets very angry about this because Alice has a compass, so if she wanted to, she could have guided them very well, but she didn't. When night falls, they somehow take shelter in the forest and they wake up at dawn. Meanwhile, when Jill asked them to tell the stories of their journey, Jill told them that they had started their journey again, and after going a little far, they saw some water and they drank this water, but the next moment they noticed that there were a lot of bats on it, so they thought that this water must not be good water, so they started their journey again. Among them, Bethany was a girl who liked smoking very much, and she had been smoking throughout the journey, and this thing was not to Alice's liking at all. After going a little far, Bethany noticed for the first time that it was far away. It's like a shelter. They all head towards it, and Alice didn't like this at all. Bethany went inside the house first and saw that there was a lot of dust inside, but they could take shelter here, so everyone entered this room, but Alice protested. According to Gil, they could take shelter here as long as no one finds them, but they don't know any way in this forest, but Alice was opposing them every time. She thought it would be dangerous to stay here. And besides, if someone finds them, they will have to spend a few weeks here, which is not right at all. Now, seeing such a disagreement, Jill wants to know everyone's opinion, and most of the girls said that they want to stay here, so finally Alice also has to accept this plan, but she doesn't stay in the house and goes outside, and then her foot gets stuck and she falls down. When she looks closely, she sees that there is a dog's grave and her foot gets stuck in a dog bone. Alice remembered that there used to be a robber in this forest whose name was Kovac, and this man was He was also very calm, and by burying the dog like this, Alice warns everyone, but everyone gets very angry with Alice because the news of her robbery was heard a long time ago, and by now she might be in jail or dead, so everyone thinks that Alice is trying to scare them so that they don't stay here. Alice is left quite alone. She notices that there is another grave here, but she doesn't investigate it. Now Aaron reaches the police officer who is currently investigating and tells him that Alice found another grave there, but they don't know what is in it, so they should quickly complete their investigation. But the police officer doesn't pay any attention to his words. Aaron now questions Bethany about this, and the girl says that they took shelter in that shelter that day, and there they lit a fire and talked together at night. But in every story, everyone was making fun of Alice. In every story, in a word, everyone was against Alice. Aaron brings each girl into a room and tells them one thing that they should. If she doesn't hide anything, they can easily find Alice if they tell her everything, and besides, they don't have much time because the storm will start here very soon and they won't be able to investigate anymore. Now Brianna tells her that the trouble with Alice started that night because she kept the flashlight on, because she thinks it's not right to waste the battery by turning on the flashlight unnecessarily, because it will be very necessary. Even after this trouble is over, Alice told them that she will leave here the next morning and will stay here. No, after saying this, she started crying. Now, during this conversation, Alice's daughter Margaret comes into the room and she believes that a man named Aaron is behind this disappearance because she saw him with her mother a long time ago, but Aaron convinces her that he is investigating this case. Then Aaron checks Alice's phone call history and he finds out that she tried to call him many times. Seeing Aaron's associate Carmen so interested in this case, she questions her and asks why she is showing such interest. Then Aaron convinces her that this case is very important. Because this case is just like his mother's case, so if they are late, they will not be able to find Alice. The next morning, Aaron learns that the storm is going to start in a few hours, so the police officer is going to stop their investigation here. Aaron immediately convinces them and forbids them from doing so. He says that they have to find Alice no matter what. He asks the policeman if they went to a place where there are a lot of bats because he has to go to that place. The police officer agrees to take them there. Aaron sets out for the mountain with his driver, and after some time, The two of them reach the place where there are a lot of bats and slowly reach the shelter where these 5 girls took shelter. Aaron sees a grave in the distance. He searches around carefully and after a while, he finds Alice's body a little further away. He is quite disappointed that he could not save Alice, but he still has to investigate how she died. Aaron remembers his past when he was looking for his mother. They had come to the same forest and found their mother injured. Now in the present day, Aaron stood in the forest and fired his flare gun into the sky, and this light targeted the garment from that hotel. He realized that their mission was complete, that is, he found Alice. Aaron returned to the hotel and first met Brythany and Brianna and asked them what happened after the trouble that night. Brythany told them that after falling asleep that night, Alice secretly went out in the middle of the night, and after a while she also woke up and she also went out, but she didn't find anything. Brianna said that she also went out right after that and it was morning, and she went a little further and found Alice's body and she tried to move it, but then a spider bit her hand and she screamed in pain. Now in the present day, Brythany asks Bria, "Why are you trying to move the body?" She tells him that, "I did it to save you because she had a problem with you the night before, so everyone will believe that you got up in the morning and killed her." Meanwhile, Margaret learns that her mother is no longer alive, and on hearing this she starts crying, and after a while Lauren's daughter Rebecca comes here and she also starts crying because she can't find her mother. Aaron realizes what happened to Lauren and immediately goes back to the forest and goes to that spring and sees Lauren standing there. In fact, the 4 surviving girls now regret that they didn't treat Alice well at all. In the same way, Lauren tells Aaron that she was the first to wake up that morning and he noticed Alice talking to someone on the phone. He and Alice never had a good relationship because Alice's daughter Margaret and her daughter Rebecca went to the same school, and there was always trouble between the two because she always teased her daughter, but Alice didn't take any action about it, and because of this, there was a problem between them that morning and she hit her hard, but unfortunately she fell on a rock and Alice was still alive. And Lauren promises her that she will never tell that she left here, and from here her illusion towards her is created, so now Lauren wants to kill herself. Now she wants to give profit from that waterfall, but Aaron convinces her that he has a daughter and she has to live, and by saying this she convinces him, but then she slips and falls under the fight. Aaron immediately gives profit and tries to save her, and finally he saves her. When Aaron returns to the hotel he notices that the owner of the company, Daniel, is waiting for him, and he starts talking to Aaron. Instead he says, "It is because of you today Alice is in such danger because you sent her here to investigate my company and she forced him to go on this hike which resulted in her death." Aaron keeps quiet because he has no evidence that he can prove it how Daniel worked number 2 in his company. Then as soon as Daniel leaves, Bethany hands Aaron a pen drive and says that that day she found this pen drive near a tree and that Alice once had it, and this drive contains the information that will prove it to Daniel. How did both numbers work in his company, and how did he fool people? Because Alice called her after completing the mission she gave him, but unfortunately she could not tell everything and died before that. Carmen takes this pen drive and takes all the responsibility of sending Daniel to jail on herself. Meanwhile Aaron goes to the mountain once again and uses the map to go to the place where his mother disappeared, and he starts experiencing old memories once again. Because Aaron loves to remember the past, and this movie ends here. Now one question remains, and that is Aaron's mother suddenly vanishes and is found injured, but how did she get injured? Actually she went to the very slope of the mountain to freshen herself, and from there her feet slipped and she fell down and then she got injured. So definitely comment and tell us your opinion. See you again with a new story. Stay tuned. Best of Hollywood.